It is Thursday, February the 10th, 2022, here in Atlanta, Georgia, where it's a gorgeous day, high of about 66, 67 degrees, sunny, a little bit of a breeze, and otherwise, there's no clouds in the sky here at the pool, where it's nice and cool in the pool. So, oh my gosh, yesterday had a fun time going on a tour of the University of Georgia campus in Athens, Georgia. For those of you that know me, know that I love college football, I love college basketball, and the University of Georgia Bulldogs won this last year in college football, the national championship. And before the season started, I realized that the last time that Georgia won the national championship was in 1980, which is the same time that my Purdue Boilermakers, where I graduated from, went to the Final Four in basketball. So I declared at the beginning of the football season, wouldn't that be cool if the University of Georgia won the national championship in football, and then my Purdue Boilermakers won in basketball, or at least got to the Final Four. You know, it's not easy to get to the Final Four because you have to really be playing really well. But Purdue definitely has a team that's one of the top teams in the country. They're ranked number 3. Actually, they would be number 2 because number 1 lost Auburn. And so Purdue plays actually tonight, 9 p.m. on ESPN, if you're interested in watching, because that's where I'm going to be at. So it's kind of fun. You know, I do deliverance, help people get healed from their soul wounds and demons and all the bad things that happen to them. And when you get healed from your wounds, you get delivered, then you do get to enjoy your life. It is a wonderful life because it's all those demons that had rights to cause you to be bitter and angry and cry tears of all the bad things that happen. It doesn't have any rights to you anymore. When you're healed, when you're delivered, and then you can actually flow in the fruit of the Spirit, which is love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. You have fun, you have joy, you have fun, you have seasons in the sun. Hello to Mindy on YouTube. So people that are healed and delivered have more fun. They do. All the bad things that happen to them, it doesn't have any effect on them anymore. Negatively. They can actually use all that pain and all the bad stuff that happened to them in helping other people get healed and delivered, and it becomes a good thing. So my breakthrough tour continues. Been doing this for 5 straight years, traveling around the United States and Canada. We have people that follow our ministry in lots of different countries around the world. So here is my upcoming schedule. It's next Saturday, February the 19th. I'll be in Orlando, Florida, at the Courtyard by Marriott in Lake Mary, Florida. I see Corey Quinn on here from Facebook. Not sure, Corey, if you're going to be able to make it there in Orlando, but if you are going to make it, look forward to seeing you, meeting you. And again, sorry for a little bit of breeziness. Whoa! As the wind at times is blowing, but for the most part it's calm, so that's why I decided to take the chance and do this from outside here. Again, next Saturday, Courtyard by Marriott in Orlando, Lake Mary, Florida. And then March the 5th, getting a lot of people to sign up for this on Eventbrite in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Courtyard by Marriott in Opryland, which is on the northeast side of Nashville. April the 2nd, coming to Dallas-Fort Worth in Irving, Texas, at the Marriott Dallas Las Colinas Hotel. And then April 8th and 9th, coming to Waco, Texas, meeting at the Acts Church. They can hold about 300 people there, so looking forward to a great turnout in Waco, Texas. Like we had last time, we had standing room only, so now I've expanded to a larger facility. And that will be hosted by Walking in Freedom in Waco. They're a ministry that does healing and deliverance there in Waco, and it's amazing to see the Lord expanding in their ministry. And then April 30th and May 1st, I'll be in Merkel, Texas, at the Fountain Gate Church, which is west of Abilene. I've been there 3 times before. So again, you can find my schedule at restoredtofreedom.com, my website, or you can go to Restored to Freedom on Facebook. All right, so the topic of the day is Jezebel. Jezebel constantly criticizes you to isolate and destroy you. So again, we talk about Jezebel a lot because a lot of people have those spirits, a lot of them that are in the church. There's pretty much no church in the world that doesn't have people that struggle with that spirit. You know, that spirit comes upon a person because they've been hurt when they grew up, hurt and wounded. Again, oftentimes from their fathers, their mothers, their step-parents, anyone, you know, those who have been sexually molested or touched or shown pornography will almost all the time guarantee you receive the spirit of Jezebel that will start to talk to them in their thoughts, and then it causes them to trigger on people if they don't do what they want. And they also is the number one reason why there's you know, striving, fighting, arguing in marriages as well as divorce, is because one person struggles more with the spirit of Jezebel. They're more controlling, more prideful, more arrogant. They can't see it in themselves oftentimes. They blame everything on their spouse, on their partner, and it ruins their lives. And so when people get healed and delivered of that, then they have great marriages. Okay, both husbands and wives need healing and deliverance. You know, and all the churches need people to go through healing and deliverance. You know, not one person in this world has ever not needed deliverance. Everyone is getting hurt and wounded by people. You know, all it takes is somebody that lies about you or betrays you, stabs you in the back, things like that. So it's very hard not to receive. And of course, when you're born, you're going to have a father and mother who have been hurt and wounded themselves and not be pure, not be godly. So they're going to say things and do things to hurt us as children. So we just have to be honest and understand this, you know, that it's not necessarily the person that is behaving that way, even though they do, but it's the demons in them that give them these thoughts. And when you can separate the person from the demon, then you don't have the anger, hatred, and bitterness anymore. When you can see that person from the Lord's perspective, you can forgive them and give them to the Lord, and then be healed and delivered from that. Uh-oh. It's windy again. So let me wait until it is calm. All right, so people, let me read this. People who are wounded in their souls have demons, you know, and they're going to be critical. They're going to be judgmental. They're going to speak words to you that are going to cause you to think that all your decisions are wrong and all their decisions are the best. And so you see this all the time with relationships when a person's not healed and delivered, is they're going to be very critical, going to criticize you for your decisions. And when you are around a person that's like that, it really wears on you because that's not the way that Jesus is. Jesus wasn't critical. He was very loving, very kind. And so oftentimes you'll have a relationship with someone. Maybe it's a new relationship with a person from church. Maybe you're dating them, and they're going to be nice to you at first. They're not going to criticize you at first because they know that will drive you away. But once they start to have earned your trust, then little by little they're going to become more critical, more judgmental if they have the spirit of Jezebel. Again, you could have a person that is a mentor at church, could be a pastor, could be a pastor's wife, could be a worship leader, could be a teacher, could be a person that's just an older person that starts to love on you, and you've been hurt and wounded, so you draw to them because you've never felt, you know, unconditional love before. Well, then eventually over time that can change, and then before you know it, they're starting to be very critical of every decision. Like if you don't hang out with them all the time at church, if you don't do what they tell you to do, they oftentimes say things like, well, you must not want God. If you don't want to do what I'm telling you to do, then, and they try to put themselves in the position of God for you. So they will twist things and to manipulate you. They try to brainwash you so that you will listen to them. And if you don't obey them, then they're saying you don't obey God. And that's where the slippery slope comes in of that control. So they start to overstep their bounds eventually. And then, you start to see it. And of course, when you start to see it, then you're like, I don't like this. I don't like being controlled. I'm pretty sure God isn't controlling. If we don't do what God wants, does he start blasting us verbally? No, he knows that we're hurt and we're wounded, and that's why oftentimes we pull away from the Lord. And he's just there waiting to love on us when we come back, when we can see the errors of our ways. But people who are not healed of their soul wounds, not delivered of their demons, and they're operating in the Jezebel spirit, will be eventually very controlling, and they'll criticize you. How many of you have ever been around people that are very critical, judgmental? It is not fun. They criticize you, and then if you try to break free from them, spend a little time with somebody else, they'll be more critical of you. And if you essentially ultimately get freed and delivered from them, then what they'll do is they'll be very angry because now they feel rejected from you. Oftentimes they get Jezebel because they're rejected when they're growing up. But if you reject a person that has Jezebel, they get very angry, very hurt, and they will start targeting other people, telling them lies and gossip about you in order to try to get them to pull away from you and get them to hate on you and think that you're evil, when the person that has Jezebel is the one that is the real one. So anyway, I took a couple of notes here. Let me read them. I think I can take my glasses off. People who are wounded in their souls and hear demons have a critical, judgmental spirit that wants to tell everyone that their way of living is the best, and you need to do what they tell you, which leads to discouraging you from everything in your life. Essentially, they start to take away life from you. Criticizing is one of the ingredients which causes a marriage or a relationship to disintegrate. The demons tell you that you better tell your spouse what to do, the people that have Jezebel. Otherwise, they will cause you discomfort, cost you money, make you look bad to others. That's what the Jezebel person is hearing from their demonic spirits. So parents who have a controlling spirit, Jezebel spirit, who constantly criticize their children, wound them and cause them to want to give up on life and making any decisions, because they feel like they have to make all these decisions that are in agreement with the parent. So the parent ends up infecting them. You wound your own children, causing demons to have legal rights to infect your own children because they hear the words that you speak to them, causing them discouragement and sadness. It can ultimately lead to depression and suicidal thoughts, where the demons tell you, you might as well just give up. Everything's horrible because you're being controlled, but they don't tell you that you're being controlled and that you should break free. They're trying to blame you and give you more demonic thoughts on top of what the person's saying to you. So people that have Jezebel spirits, their demons want to control everything about you. And by criticizing you for everything, they get you to have doubt in your ability to make decisions for yourself. And then eventually you start to have depression, you have suicidal thoughts from the demons telling you to kill yourself, which the demons will give you ideas of how to kill yourself. Did you know that? I remember one lady who had adopted a child. That child, this little girl, I think she was like 7, 8 years of age. She was like going out to the woods to kill birds. And she was like 7 or 8 years of age. And she's like, what? Why are you doing these evil things? And it was because she was hearing demons telling her what to do, how to do it, how to torture things, how to torture animals. So demons are real. People that have suicidal thoughts, it's demonic thoughts. It's exactly what they're having. It explains everything. So Jezebel wants to isolate you to themselves. You'll notice that. Again, if you get married to someone that has Jezebel, they will try to take away all your friends. They'll oftentimes criticize or make fun and mock you because you don't have any friends. Well, it's because they're jealous of you having a relationship other than them. And if you do have some relationships with friends and they come over and they meet your spouse, then oftentimes your spouse will manifest on them, and then they'll pick up on it. Either they will be, very mean to them. They will make it a hassle. Anytime you invite somebody to come over, they'll act like it takes 10 hours to clean up your house when it takes an hour or less. But they'll make it a hassle. They'll make it hell for you to have any relationships outside of them. They want to own you, and they will ultimately want to brainwash you to get you to the point to where you will give up on life. You will give up on doing anything for God, and you'll want to ultimately kill yourself. and die. So Jezebel wants to isolate you to themselves, so will come up with totally invalid reasons as to why you should not be friends with certain people or with ultimately anyone. They'll find little things to criticize. Well, that person there, they're having a sexual issue and pride. I can just tell it. The Lord's showing me this, or the Lord's showing me that person there is mean to their animals, or they're cheating on their taxes, or they'll come up with a million reasons why you shouldn't have a friendship with a healthy person. Why? Because if that healthy person can help you overcome the demons in them, then they're going to lose. They're not going to be able to have control over you anymore. So oftentimes they'll hate it that you have relationships outside of them. They want to smother you oftentimes. Same thing with if you're wanting to attend maybe a ministry, like such as my ministry, Restored to Freedom. They'll oftentimes throw 100 reasons why you should not come to one of the meetings, because they want to keep their demons and they want to keep their control over you. It may cause them to, if you do attend, put every thing in place to make you late so that you cannot arrive on time, so that they don't have to hear the truth about how they behave. So they want to convince you that if you don't agree with them, then you must not want God. They want to make them an idol before God. So understand all that. Jezebel will also accuse you over and over and over again, trying to brainwash you into agreeing with them. They want you to hear demons accusing you of their lies as being the truth. And that is the truth. That's why it's so important, if you are in a relationship with a person that has the spirit Jezebel, understand that those demons in them want to destroy you. Ultimately, they love to kill you in a legal way. And I've seen that with a couple that I knew from Indianapolis, that this man was sexually molested by his father, and he was not delivered from his demons. And he would come into our church, a very large church, and he acted all sweet and all nice. You couldn't tell that he wouldn't be very godly at home, but he wasn't. And he ended up saying horrible things, very critical of his wife, of his children. The children left home as soon as they could. The wife stayed behind. The wife ultimately died at age like 42. She had like a brain tumor, and it was very sad to watch. And then he got remarried, and then that woman started getting sick. Well, now ultimately I've learned that he has cancer and he is now dying, and he's not delivered. So a person can keep their demons, but if you keep in a relationship with a person that has Jezebel, you will not have any peace. Oftentimes you will get sicker and sicker and sicker. I know of one woman that was in a relationship with a mentor, and every time she was around her, not every time, but frequently when she was around her, she would hear or have headaches and have like dizziness and stuff, and that's a sign of witchcraft. Oftentimes people can get into where they can astral project. They can listen to your conversations, and they can say that, hey, God told me this, God told me that. So it really brainwashes you, convinces you that they're hearing from the Lord, when they're not. All right, so criticism is a legal way that a person with demons can try to kill their victims slowly over time. Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So again, a person that has Jezebel is going to be very critical, criticizing you, and that will cause you to ultimately die. I explained this several times over the last year, where there was a lady that was on Facebook who bought some rice, some white rice, put it in 3 different bags. In one bag she spoke positive words over it, the other bag she said nothing to it, and the third bag she spoke negative curse words, was critical all the time. And so what happened after, I think it was 30 days, is the rice that she spoke positive to, you could eat it. It was still perfect, and she let the rice's bags stay out. So it was perfect. And then the rice that she didn't say anything to was starting to turn a little bit darker, although the rice that she cursed was all moldy and all gross. So there is power in those words. So if you're around a person that's critical, criticizes, puts you down for everything, you need to get away. You need to separate. You need to part. You need to stop allowing them to curse you, because it is true. It is bad. Galatians 5:13 through 15 says, for you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. For the whole law can be summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. But if you are always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another. Well, people that have Jezebel want to destroy you. Again, you may not see it at first. They may be nice to you at first. They may get you to marry them. But then once they've got you, watch out. They will start to manifest and try and destroy you. Matthew 7:1-5 says, do not judge others, and you will not be judged, for you will be treated as you treat others. The standard for use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? How can you think of saying to your friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye, when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. So many people that are critical, judgmental, they're dealing with demonic spirits, and it's going to be not turn out well for you if you keep them in your life, if you continue to let them speak into your life. Now, think about Elijah. Elijah killed 850 of Jezebel's prophets, Baal and Ashtoreth. And then what happened after he did that? Jezebel spoke one word, threatening to kill him, and then he took off running, went to a cave, and asked God to kill him. So if you're around a person with the spirit of Jezebel, they will cause you to have suicidal thoughts because of their horrible words that they speak. So they want to speak as many words as they can to you, trying to cause you to believe what they're saying is the truth when it's not. And so if you listen to a person who is speaking lies and crud to you, it will hurt you. If you allow and tolerate Jezebel to stay in your life, then your very life will be taken from you. If they refuse to get healed from their soul wounds and delivered, then they will cause you to hear demons, which will often cause you to be depressed, sick, and even suicidal, and come to death. I know of a woman, again, who stayed too long in a relationship. Her husband criticized her. She ended up getting a brain tumor and dying. So it is the truth. When you break free from Jezebel and they cannot control you anymore, then they will come against you by lying about you to others, by gossiping, trying to get others to hate you and think that you're bad. So Jesus, when he spoke to the Pharisees in Mark 7:20-23, said, and then he added, it is what comes from inside that defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these vile things come from within. They are what defile you. So again, this is a warning that Jezebel, you are seeing the manifestations on a worldwide basis right now with people who do not comply, who do not obey. And you're obeying things that are demonic. And that is why when people are rising up finally, taking a stand, it's not easy. Whenever you rise up against Jezebel, the Jezebel spirit, they will get mad, they'll get angry, they will lie about you. And are you going to tolerate it? Because the more you tolerate this, the closer you're going to allow them to take over you and to bring you closer to depression, suicidal thoughts, and death. So it is a matter of life and death. Do not tolerate allowing people in your life who have the Jezebel spirit, who are controlling, manipulative, because they want to slowly kill you in a legal way that they can get away with. And then they can act all sweet and innocent when it's not. And this is the truth. People that have those spirits, and not, again, understand this, a lot of them that are in the church, they don't look like your standard Jezebel. A lot of people think that all the Jezebels have to wear lots of makeup, look sexy, and so forth. The majority, I would say, of people that struggle with Jezebel spirit do not look like that. They look where they are more modestly dressed, and they probably wear maybe some makeup, but they'll act like they're very godly, very Christians, very, very much like, I don't know, the church lady on Saturday Night Live. But they're very critical and very judgmental. And if you don't do what they want, then they can spread lies and rumors about you and ultimately cause you to want to die. So part from them. Our ministry deals with them all the time. We want to get those healed and delivered from their soul wounds and delivered from their demons, so they no longer Jezebel their spouse and Jezebel other people that don't do what they want. Because ultimately that is what they're dealing with is demonic spirits, and they need to go back and get healed and delivered from that. And sometimes by you pulling away from them, if they're your spouse, they will be able to see in the mirror, and they'll have to deal with the truth of the consequences of how they've been treating you. Now again, they're really good at lying and trying to cause people to support them, but understand, you need to obey God and do what God tells you to do. So, alrighty, I think that's it. I will let you guys go. All right, see ya. Bye.